Finally, this is the new car ready to be wrapped in vinyl. It's made of thinner marine plywood than the last one, mostly 4mm instead of 6. It won't make a lot of difference to the weight, but you know, every little helps. I've painted the inside already with water-based paint, and the front grille and suspension are black gloss paint. Wrap Direct gave me the vinyl, thanks very much to them. Shiny. And Ashley and Will came to help put it on. I would make a video about the details of vinyl wrapping because it is very interesting, but we're still learning because there's quite a lot to learn. This one turned out better than the first one, but it's still not perfect. To be fair, there were some challenging curves and 2 awkward corners to contend with on this car, so I think we did quite well, considering. And I do like the thought that you could, in fact, make it perfect if you really knew what you were doing. Because the vinyl is marvellous stuff. It gets soft and stretchy when you get it hot, and it sticks to wood surprisingly well, and it looks great when it's done, if you get all the wrinkles out. And it's easy to clean and so shiny. We have learned though that you need 3 people to put it on. 2 people to stretch it and 1 to heat it and smooth it down with the soft squeegee. I'll put the link to Wrap Direct in the description. They have many other colours and patterns and they're very helpful. Anyway, once the main wrap was done, I added some edge trim. And some leather for the step through. And suddenly the car looks very smart, I think. Now you can really see the differences and improvements on earlier versions. This is the new dashboard featuring more lights and a better layout really. There's a neater backlight plate too, and I've included an eye bolt to facilitate easy lifting. It's just much easier to work on the gears and the brakes when they're up in the air. I'm using a 32 to 12 tooth cassette at the back and a 50 tooth chainring at the front, and that ratio seems to work very well, but I'm going to keep tinkering with the gear ratios to see if I can improve things even more. There's a 650-pound suspension spring above the back wheel too. After trying a few, that's the one, I think. And it really doesn't seem to need any more suspension than that. The front wheels are 2 inches further apart on this machine. It doesn't sound like much, but it feels even less like tipping over now. And of course, there are disc brakes on all 3 wheels, operated by a cable to the back brake and hydraulic lines to the front ones. The front brakes sit on special steel brackets that I made. One of only a handful of specialist parts that you need for this build. The rest are off-the-shelf parts or parts cut from plywood or from timber plank. So that makes it quite an interesting project really, because most of the parts are not that difficult to find or difficult to make. But together you can turn them into something that's really quite different and fun to drive. The steering is now simplified. I moved the pulleys inside, as you know, and so the connection to the conrod ends needs no additional parts, just some grease. And I added a bottle screw or turnbuckle inside to keep it all tight, and arranged it like this. So if it needs tensioning, or really just if it needs the slack taken out of the cable, the bottle screw does both sides at the same time. You just need to loosen the lock nuts first. Here you can see the new storage space over the back wheel. It's just for putting a coat in, or something like that, something else light, because the storage under the seat is for heavy loads. And there it is. Still missing a roof, but that's coming along too. And here it is on the beach. You know, as you do. And then my son Liam turned up for a week from China, just in time to drive one car while I drove the other car, and much fun was had. Ashley is operating the drone, but it doesn't have a gimbal, which is why the shots are just a little jumpy. Liam learned how to drive a car in a few minutes, and we did 3 different road trips with a top speed of 32 kilometers an hour, and I miss him now he's gone. He said it was the best thing I'd ever invented. Well, best thing so far, obviously. And then more family arrived and more fun was had. So all in all, I'm really happy with it all. The plans are close, but still not ready. Partly because it needs all this final testing to make sure it's a good car and it's not going to break and it's safe and everything. And also because Liam's been around and not much else got done. And now I have a stinky cold, as you might have noticed. Sorry about that. And now I'm wondering whether this design could, in fact, pass the tests which would allow me to make and sell these little cars, but it's proving hard to find out what those tests actually are. I'll keep trying. And the name? Well, at the moment my favourites are the Flintstone Flyer, the Whirligig, Little Wooden Pedal Car, the Bentwood Flyer, the Mott, though you might have to be Irish to understand the last one. What do you think?